Mall of America. It's home to world-class shopping, great dining, and amazing attractions and events. And these are our stories, presented by Bloomington, Minnesota Travel and Tourism. Hi, everybody. I am Jill Renslow, your host for today's episode of So Much More, joined by my co-host, Dan Jasper. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, Jill. How you doing?
I am excited for this one because we are going to lean into the start of the NBA season. We are huge basketball fans. At least I am. You're learning to be a basketball fan, but just all things sports. We love things in Minnesota. We have so many amazing sports teams, and we love the Timberwolves. We're going to talk about sports retail because it is like it's never been before. It's very immersive, very experiential, and it really goes beyond shopping. It's really become a true fan experience. So joining us today, we have Adam Herstig. He is the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Partnerships for Lids and also the NBA store, who's redefining what it means to shop like a fan. We're going to learn more about that into the podcast. But through immersive store design, exclusive merch, customization zones, and unforgettable activations, Adam's work bridges retail and fandom. So Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's dig right in and let's hear your story. How did you get started in sports retail and ultimately land with Lids?
Yeah, my background, it started with the sports license division of Adidas and Reebok. So many, many years ago, all the sports license retail were held by, at one point, majority was with Adidas and Reebok. So if you recall, for those of us that are old enough to remember, Adidas was the on-field NBA jersey provider. Adidas had the MLS deal, which I think they still retain. Reebok was the on-ice hockey provider, and NFL was with Reebok as well. Do you guys remember those days?
Mm-hmm, yeah, absolutely.
So there's a sports license division within the Reebok building, which Adidas owned. And there were many of us that worked within that sports license division and kind of managed it. And so that's kind of where I got my start. I was managing oddly enough, and we're here to talk about this, I was involved in the NBA Adidas business. This was probably closer to 20 years ago now. So I got my start cutting my teeth at the sports license division of Adidas and Reebok. Adidas then acquired a great vintage nostalgic company called Mitchell & Ness in Philadelphia. They had all the nostalgic rights for all the leagues. So they were in the football business. They were in the baseball business. That's actually how Mitchell & Ness got their start. They were making wool-owned jerseys for the Major League Baseball business is kind of how they got into licensing. They had an NHL rights deal. And so I moved there. We started a marketing team. We grew that business. We kind of diversified to be more than just a headwear focused business. We grew a retro nostalgic apparel line. And so I did that for a few years. And then I went overseas. I actually grew up overseas. So I went to China, of all places, and I kind of spent some time running Asia Pacific, more of a, not so much marketing, but more of like a sales role, starting to sell into Japan, into Australia, and into India was the full territory. Of course, China and Australia were two major markets that we were kind of focused on. All kids licensed sports apparel and headwear. Did that for a few years, came back to the US, and then I kind of transitioned over to footwear retail, spent some time at Snipes, for those that know that footwear retailer, Foot Locker, I think most people know. And then now I'm on the Lid side, which is a retailer that specializes in sports licensed, apparel, headwear, hard goods. So kind of a full circle moment for me, kind of where I started to where I am now.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing your story. And can you dive a little bit further into the Lids as a parent company and all the other retail entities that fall below that umbrella?
Yeah, so Lids, we're kind of part of the Fanatics group. So I think of it as like Lids Inc. So Lids has, over 1,000 Lids stores. Those are the mall-based stores that mostly headwear focused with some jerseys and apparel around it. There's Lids Locker Room, which is more of a fashion apparel store concept as well. We have the Dodgers clubhouse business. So any Dodgers store out on the West Coast, any Yankees store out on the East Coast, we own and operate as well. We also own and operate Paris Saint-Germain stores, NHL store, the one in New York, and then NBA stores. So with NBA stores now in the US, there's 4. New York, for those that know that one, on Fifth Avenue. There's one in Houston Galleria Mall, and then 2 new ones that opened. So one in LA, that's in City Walk in Universal Studio. And then, of course, Mall of America. Those are the 2 latest ones. We also have some other kind of businesses like Lids Hat Drop, which is like an exclusive drop hat site. We do a customlids.com business. And then we do also some like Buckeye Corners, Ohio State type clubhouse businesses as well.
Okay. Well, we love the new NBA store here at the mall. If our fans and viewers, if you haven't checked it out, you definitely have to take a peek. It's on the west side, level 2, right outside Nordstrom. It is almost like this emergence of a store, a museum. It's beautiful. I mean, you guys have really set it up from a design perspective, spot on for the fans, sports fans, but also just a great assortment of merchandise, and just absolutely love it.
And there's something for everyone in there. I love my grandson who just started playing basketball. He's 10 years old, by the way, and adorable, just saying that. But he loves going in there because he thinks, like every 10-year-old boy, that's going to be me one day. I'm going to play, and encourage him. That's one thing that I think you've done really well in that space is you're letting people live their dreams.
It's fantastic. And we also have 3 lid stores, of course, one on each level of the mall. So there's definitely, convenience to be able to find lid stores. But to your point, it's not just about hats. You guys have a great assortment of merchandise in those stores as well. So I would love to hear from your perspective, where do you feel like this is all going? Like the sports retail growth and fandom, like it's amazing of how immersive it's become. So I'm curious of like what surprises you about this space that you're in and how it's evolved. Obviously, you've been in sports retail for many years, and where do you see it like evolving to?
Yeah, it's definitely evolving, and it's evolving really quickly, and it's almost hard to like, keep up with how fast it's moving. But I'll start with, I guess the easier one to talk about in isolation is like a niche concept, like an NBA store. So here's one where, and thank you for the nice words. I too think it's a beautiful store, and it's really well merchandised and offers a lot of different things. That we have to give credit to the NBA. Obviously, they're very sort of hands-on, and part of striking the deal with them is their mandate to ensure that it is super immersive. And so by design from the beginning, from when the deal is struck, we have to make sure that we give it everything from an experiential standpoint, from a customization standpoint, more than just product. And then on the product side, I would say we have to be just very thankful that we have amazing vendors and partners, Sportique, 47 Brand New Era, Mitchell and Ness, really great partners that are designing incredible product, whether it's vintage nostalgic or it's contemporary, Nike on the footwear side. Like there's just so many, everyone does a great job, and it comes together. So for that store specifically, in working with the NBA, we have to ensure it has a couple things. One, amazing merchandise, and that's not just NBA. Obviously, it's the growing business that is the WNBA as well. And so in each of our flagships, you're just going to see a much more purposeful space for WNBA, and that's going to just keep growing and becoming almost 50-50 concept in the store. Then there's the place to sit and watch. We have to make sure the games are streamable, and we want to welcome people to come hang out, connect to Wi-Fi, watch the games. And then on top of that, there's always an immersive experience. So the one here at Mall of America it's like a quick touch reaction speed game. And so it's free for anyone to come in and play against their friend, their foe, their grandparent, and it's like a one-on-one competition. And what we do with that is we obviously would love to collect some information so we can personalize, gifts, rewards, et cetera to you. But then also there's like a highest game winner on a daily, weekly, monthly basis can get like free gift with purchases and things that we occasionally like to surprise and delight customers with. So this store has all those great things. On top of that, something that is true of the NBA store and the lid stores is customization. So that's one thing that is a key differentiator for us. It always has been, and we want to amplify that year in and year out. So customization in the NBA stores, that's down to your name and number tees and jerseys. That is headwear patches. That is headwear jewelry. That is headwear embroidery. Headwear embroidery happens in real time. So if we say get rights for a player that just signed, like let's just say we get a great rookie, he signs on, we can get his embroidergraph signature loaded into our embroidergraph machine, and a kid who's thrilled that player just got drafted to the Timberwolves can get it embroidered on a hat. So stuff like that, we're always looking to evolve and make more meaningful, because what that creates is like a customized experience on any item. So if someone wants more than just the same piece that someone else has, they can make it their own. And there's a number of ways to make it their own. And so that's also true. That carries over to all the lids and lids locker room stores. So all of those have a custom zone, and they can stitch, they can patch, and then they can curve their hats. That's another feature we have where you can kind of load your hat into a machine and curve it to your curving heart's desire. Some like a steeper curve and some like a less steep curve. I'm more on the dad hat steep curve, but that might be because of my age.
I love that. So no longer do you have to like wrap it up with rubber bands or everything else to get the curve that you want. I remember
Everyone's got their ritual. Everyone's got
They
their
do.
ritual.
We
want to take that guesswork out of your hands.
Adam, you covered a lot of different areas. So I'd love to go back and unpack a couple of those things. You talked about nostalgic components and also tradition and heritage, and like how do you keep that balance of some of those traditional elements that people are looking for in their apparel items, but then also balancing that with the innovation that you're bringing to your stores. So how do you look at that and strategically plan for the brand to be able to deliver both ends of the spectrum?
I look at it from like a product segmentation standpoint. I think our merchandising buying team does too. The good news there is I think that there's the vendor portfolio that contain rights within like the NBA as a league, for example. It naturally is so that the way the chips all fall, if you will, is that Nike takes on a more kind of contemporary on-court, vibe, aesthetic. They through Fanatic, they produce the jerseys. You've got Mitchell and Ness, who's always been rooted in nostalgia, and so they naturally kind of fit within a zone where you can nerd out and look at all this nostalgic product and buy into hardwood classics, which is the retro sort of title for anything any player that's not currently playing is in a hardwood classic sort of realm. And then you've got other vendors like New Era and 47 brand that offer different headwear styles that may feel a little more innovative, a little more old school. And so by design, I guess the family of vendors that we buy into all do one thing maybe better than the other by design, and so it all like fits naturally within a space. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah,
and on
absolutely.
top of that, we offer customization, and so like that also feeds into that.
Yeah, and the customization is phenomenal in both the lid stores and the NBA store here at Mall of America, and such a great opportunity for the holiday season as we're approaching gift giving and looking for those unique gift ideas. Very, very cool when you can personalize it, and especially when you have young people that are growing up with this and being able to have something that's personalized. I think it's a home run.
They love it, and that's what we have a basketball sitting on the table in front of me that I picked up at the NBA store for my grandson, and I am going to go and get a hat that's customized for him as well. And just having that opportunity and the fact that you can do it while the guest waits as well, that makes it. The other thing I noticed too was it's awesome because you offer price points that fit everyone's budgets, right? There's some things that are higher end that are awesome, but there were some very affordable options as well.
Some fun stocking stuffers that I was
yeah.
peeking at recently. Love that. You also do a great job with your staff and hiring the right people that are passionate about sports, specifically basketball for the NBA store. But talk a little bit about that, of how you really embrace your culture with the staff that deliver the experience in your stores.
Yeah, I mean, that's the operational team here takes this task quite seriously, in the sense that obviously there's the, what must be true of any lids employee, but then you got to think about just the passion and desire. Are you truly a fan of the game? And, do you enjoy it? Can you speak to it? Do you kind of nerd out over it the way we all do? And so oftentimes what we find is as we open more and more of these stores, we'll actually move people across the country that are just been really great stewards of the brand with us. And so, we've had many cases where someone that went and opened one store in one city then moves over and helps us open another store in another city. So thank you for calling that out. It's an important element, both to us and the NBA.
Well, we're big believers in that, especially in the brick and mortar space. There's a brand experience that people will expect just because of what they have in the stadiums and the arenas and online. But then when they come into that brick and mortar space, that in-person experience, you want to have that consistency, but also elevate it, right, with the guests and the employee interaction. So I'm curious with this season, people are always looking for those exclusive drops and also special collaborations that might be coming. Is there anything that you can tease as far as what's to come this season and what fans can experience in the store and special products and collabs that are coming out?
What am I allowed to share?
Yeah.
I would say that, like every year, City Edition is just a great kind of New Jersey experience, and the designs year to year are always super interesting. And I think, design teams over at Fanatics and Nike and the NBA, they get more and more creative with how to celebrate their cities. And so City Edition is here and in front of us, and that's always a great pickup to someone that, wants a different jersey, and is really sort of for their city and likes to rep their city in a new and interesting way. And then, we do have a team of we have a brand collaboration team that does a really good job thinking of what collaborations need to be done. I can't share maybe more than, at NBA All-Star this year, if you are out in the California area and if you enjoy good local pizza, you may find a nice headwear and apparel combination brought to you by us that you should stay tuned for.
Okay.
That's about as much as I can give away.
Read between the lines. I love it. Well, you've recently had
Yeah.
some events, and I know there's more to come. So a great place to keep an eye on what you guys have coming is to keep an eye on our website and obviously in your store to follow the brands, because there's a lot of fun things coming. We appreciate the activations that you have in store. So I'm curious too, like, how do you select the teams that you're featuring? I guess it's more regional in nature, because obviously the T-Wolves have the predominant space when you enter the NBA store here. But even players, is it based on just their performance and who's on the leaderboard, or how does that work of who you're featuring in the store?
I think lids holistically that also carry NBA product year in and year out. It's more, what are key markets where teams are performing well, and we want to kind of like show love in a local store, maybe bring a key player out. That's always part of our marketing strategy, if you will. In a space like the Mall of America store, any NBA specific store, we normally intentionally go do a team deal. So we've got a Sparks deal out in LA, we've got a Rockets deal in Houston. So in Mall of America, we've got a team deal with the Timberwolves. So we just kicked that off, and so there's a deal in place, and year round, you can expect us to bring players in, mascots and dancers in, and you can expect also in-game marketing activations and offerings to come back to the NBA store and enjoy X, Y, and Z. So our plan is to create year-round programming in that store together with the Timberwolves.
I know you have an but you have an NBA store in London, in Milan, in Australia, in China. Of all those other nations, what are the ones that are most fanatic? I know China is a big NBA country. Where are the most fanatics at? And are there other areas of the globe you're looking at?
I feel like answering that will alienate.
I'm
there's
sorry.
fans everywhere. There's fans everywhere.
There are.
This is a concerted NBA effort to continue to bring games abroad, to continue to bring off-season moments abroad. Having lived in China, I think the fandom in China is immense, and the love for basketball is immense. I got to witness that firsthand, and it is seemingly continuing to grow and super exciting. The stores that we operate overseas at the moment, Paris, London, Sydney, Melbourne, I would say, I think you could tie maybe it back to players in the league. And, even in the stores here in the US, I'll just kind of sit in that store and listen, and I just hear a ton of French speaking. And so maybe if I were to name one, I'd say Paris. And I think the love for the game in France right now, especially given how many talented players are in the league, is seemingly rising maybe at a faster clip than others.
So kind of adding on to Dan's question, just overall lines between retail, entertainment, and fandom are blurring. So how do you see sports retail evolving over the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, retailment, is that that's, I've seen and read that
Yeah,
one.
retailtainment. We
And
say that all the time.
retailtainment,
Hmm.
right. Yeah, you want, and you can't do it in every store, but certainly some stores are more conducive to this. How do we get them to enjoy more time in here? The longer the dwell time, the better the experience, the more likely they are to recommend you to others. Of course, purchasing becomes more intentional, et cetera. So it is constantly on our minds. And I think a big part of that is back to customization is a big part of it. So come in and customize and let us offer you more than what you think you can currently customize. And that's just something we're constantly talking about here in these offices: patches, curving your hat, jewelry. How do we take embroidering to the next level? And what new IP do we need to go get that's super interesting outside of just the things that are happening in the trend world? Like you can go and get a Timberwolves hat today and put 6'7" on it if you want, because that's a thing. You can go do that. But I'd say outside of that is the collectibles business and the memorabilia business. So we are taking we're just making a very concerted effort right now to have that be much more meaningful for us. So come into our stores, rip packs of Topps cards. We just got the Topps rights on October 23rd. That was a big launch moment.
Great.
And so between customization and collecting memorabilia, whether that be top cards, whether that be patches, I think means now that you may just want to spend time in your after school hours, or if you're after college hours and your after work hours in that store, because there's a lot of things you can do. And so that's how we view like the sports license retailtainment component. I'm sure it's going to just continue to evolve and there'll be other things in there. I mean, it's super interesting now with the technology of, whether it's AI based or being able to speak to athletes and being able to take selfies with AI versions of athletes. I think there's just so much in front of us still around how it will evolve, and it'll just be more dwell time in stores.
Yeah, the future innovation sounds very exciting. So keep it coming. We'd love to have it here at the mall. I'm curious of how you measure success. Retail continues to evolve, and gone are the days where it's just on sales per square foot. So what do you look at beyond sales? Is it that dwell time, as you mentioned, the social buzz, the interaction that you have with the fan sentiment? Like, what is important to you as a brand to measure success?
Yeah, it's all of it. And if I shared my Excel doc of all our primary and secondary KPIs, it would be an eyesore. And so the answer is it's holistic, and it's across all of it. So on the business side, obviously, sales, traffic, conversion, yes, dwell time, of course, DPT, UPT, all those fun measurement systems to ensure that the business is healthy. But then certainly on top of that, social media follower growth, engagements, impressions. We do oftentimes third-party studies on, is the sentiment going up? Is our NPS scores healthy? Are our awareness and consideration going up? So we do that together often to kind of judge, because there's going to be moments where you're going to tell more of a product-based story, and there's going to be moments where you're going to tell more of a branding story. So it's important you measure both in sort of different ways. But the answer would be all matter.
So if you were to describe the future fan store in one word, what would it be?
Immersive. It's probably a safe word, but it's the word, I think.
And I think there's truth to it, right?
Absolutely. I love that. So before we wrap up, I have a little lightning round for you. I'm kind of known to do little games. And so don't worry, it's easy. So I'm going to just give you a question and just give me the first thing that comes to mind, or just kind of the one word question or one word answer. So, and you have to skew this a little bit towards Minnesota because we are here in Minnesota. So your favorite NBA team?
Timberwolves.
Yes.
The Wolves.
Right
The Wolves.
answer.
Good answer. The best piece of sports merch you've ever owned?
Signed rookie Derrick Rose jersey.
Okay. Most underrated sports city in the United States?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Custom hat embroidery you've seen that has made you laugh, and it has to be appropriate because this is family friendly.
We're going to publish a 6-7 hat this week, and that might be the one. But since that's not live yet, I really like our Peanuts Snoopy wintertime stuff. It's pretty funny.
Really? Did you know that we used to have Camp Snoopy here at Mall of America? It was the Peanuts gang. Our theme park was branded Snoopy and the Gang. So back in the day. Now it's Nickelodeon, awesome. But it used to be Snoopy. And if you could collaborate with any athlete for a limited edition drop, who would it be?
There are so many options here. Only because FIFA's around the corner and it's all we're kind of talking and thinking about. It's only going to be more so the case come May. I think I got to say Messi.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Very timely. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And shopping like a fan means blank.
Buying for the family.
Okay.
I like it.
I like that.
Good answers.
And even though that was going to be how I wrapped it up, there was another topic that I did want to circle back to that you had brought up in one of your explanations. You talked about the WNBA, and I'm just so curious, even though we're in NBA season, I'm so curious with the explosion of women's sports and the support from the fan base. I'm so curious of how that's impacting retail sales.
No, it's well, let me just switch the hat for this one and become a Fever fan.
I love it.
Someone that resides here in Indy and goes to many Fever games, that feel compelled to wear the Clark.
The Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, so seeing it first, you see it reflected in sales. Obviously, you see it reflected in ratings. You see it reflected in so many facets. What is now caught up in a beautiful way is there's so much great product now to offer. We have just a great vendor partners creating really good product around this. And that wasn't there before because there weren't the dollars there before necessarily. And so now there's intentionally there's an WNBA zone. We've always had one, but it's just growing and growing and growing and getting wider and wider. And then, who knows when it stops because they're still on it's just still this hockey puck moment that it's having. So it's been great.
It is fantastic. Such amazing talent out there and so fun to watch. So
Absolutely.
fun to watch. Well, Adam, it has been so much fun and this has been a great conversation. So thank you for joining us today. It's clear that sports retail isn't just about selling gear. It's about building community and giving fans a space to celebrate what they have. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for all of our listeners for tuning in. Be sure to follow us wherever you listen and watch your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to check out the NBA store and the Lids stores, plural. And all the fans out there, come join us. It's a great place to check things out here at Mall of America. So again, the WNBA or the NBA store, including WNBA merchandise, is located on the West Side level 2, and our Lid stores are on level 1, 2, and 3 throughout the mall. So come check them all out. And thank you for joining us. Thanks for listening to So Much More, a Mall of America podcast. Subscribe wherever you find your favorite podcasts. This show is presented by Bloomington, Minnesota Travel and Tourism.